just have realized that you just haven't really thought about this as deeply as you should have. That's all.
Okay, sure. I'm just going to...
Vegan Bazooka, do you mind if I just ask you a really quick question? And it's not a trap or anything. I just really want to know.
How long... that's okay. It's impossible to trap a vegan.
Of course you think that. But how long have you been vegan?
6 years.
6 years. Okay. So I've been debating this topic for almost as long as you've been vegan. So I don't really know...
you must be right then.
No, that's not what I said. You just
Then why are you bringing it up?
It's because you have this silly attitude where you think you're going to come in here and school people who've been debating this particular topic, never mind about other topics, for longer than you've actually been.
The hell out of you pretty well so far. Everything you said is dog shit, bro.
Please keep claiming that, because everybody, including vegans, thinks you look like a fucking idiot.
Oh, okay.
Why do you think you have, like, 32 subscribers instead of 32,000?
Probably because I only got started on YouTube like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I've seen smaller vegan YouTubers blow up quicker than that, but your attitude is really silly. Okay. You just come across as an idiot, and to be honest, I'm half thinking that you're nothing but a troll.
So your justification for torturing and murdering animals is that I'm a vegan.
How do you know I torture and murder animals?
Well, are you vegan?
Nope. Does it
then
follow?
You torture and murder animals.
Really? It follows from the fact that I'm not vegan that I torture and murder animals? And you want to lecture me on logic, you stupid fuck?
It necessarily follows from the non-vegan position that your choices regulate death and torture.
Okay, so when I find a dead animal on the side of the road, it must be because I've tortured and murdered it, right? That follows, doesn't it? You're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot.
Okay, well, I've got you to ad homs already. First, you couldn't justify your position, and secondly, you
don't know what my position is.
Being vegan. And now you're just calling me an idiot.
Yeah, because you are an idiot, right? Does it follow, logically, Mr. I know everything about logic, does it follow that if I find a dead animal on the side of the road, that I tortured and murdered it?
No, it does not logically follow.
There you go. So you don't know what my position is. You've just undone yourself. You're a tool.
I feel like it might be counterproductive. Like, if we're also adversarial in the conversation, we're never going to have good conversations.
Sure, I'm happy to be quiet, right? I'm happy to be quiet.
Oh, you don't have to be quiet. We just have to be better.
No, because I don't really have too much patience for this, especially after last night's fiasco, which wasn't with vegan water pistol. I'll be quiet and let somebody else talk.
So, why do you think it's okay to torture and murder animals?
So, that's a morally
loaded
question. He's gone straight
for
back
the starters.
Well, it's not morally loaded because you actually do that.
Here's the problem.
Is anyone in here?
You just said it doesn't entail, so how am I doing that?
Who in here is doing that?
Who?
Is anyone here vegan?
Who in here is torturing animals?
Let's not dodge the question, please.
So, vegan, what's being asked of you is, because you're making a proclamation that people, it sounds like, doing this personally in their, with their own hands. They're torturing and killing animals. Is that what you mean to say, or do you mean to say they're doing that extraneously through, I guess, their financial means?
Yeah. So if you pay someone to torture and murder animals, I'm still going to put the blame on you to some degree. I think that's reasonable.
Which isn't what happens when you find a dead animal on the side of the road, which you admitted about 60 seconds ago. Remember?
Okay, so who
Can
in
you
here is
explain to me
paying?
how finding a dead animal on the side of the road has any comparison to paying someone to murder and torture animals?
No, I can't
Who is?
because
No.
it doesn't,
Okay.
which proves
Okay, then
my
shut up.
point, not your point. You said that if you're not vegan, then it must be because you're torturing and murdering animals. I then asked you, if I find a dead animal on the side of the road, does it follow that I've tortured and murdered it? You said no. Can you not see
So
the problem?
Okay, so if your position is you
I'm
pay
being
people to
quiet.
murder and torture animals,
That's
and then
not
you
my
find
position. Talk to
one dead
somebody
animal
else.
that wasn't because of you, does that debunk it?
So, vegan, what
Okay.
he's trying to say is that he specifically, as his own individual person, what he does is he only eats meat that he finds in ways that would be ethical according to your system.
Okay, so you eat roadkill.
Who are you asking? Are you asking me because I said I'd be quiet?
I'm just asking, do you only kill animals that you find that are already dead?
Do I kill animals that are already dead? No, not normally. It's not usually
No,
necessary.
do you only consume animals that you found dead on the side of the road?
Nope.
Then why did you bring this up?
Because you've contradicted yourself.
No,
wait,
just ask him
An
example
example.
more, please.
do you,
Just
do you
figure out
think
what
I
he
don't
thinks.
I don't want this debate to be about me because this guy has no
Okay,
idea what
good.
my positions are. So
That's fine.
I'd rather somebody else did it, and people in here know why. It's because of one of the discussions I had last night, which is recorded, of course. So somebody else, I don't mind who, somebody else go.
I mean, is eating roadkill a vegan action?
Well, I don't think it's as morally, condemnable as paying someone to murder and torture animals.
Well, the question was,
That's
is
not
it
what
a
I.
vegan
Not an
action?
answer, bro.
That's not what I asked you. So what I asked you was, is eating roadkill a vegan action?
I guess so. Yeah.
How is it a vegan action? So let's change up the question. If I collected roadkill and I butchered down that roadkill and I started selling roadkill meat to people, is that still a vegan action?
I guess so.
It is. So getting roadkill off the ground and selling it to people for people to eat dead animals is a totally vegan action to you.
Well, ethically, yeah, but I mean, it's still going to cause cancer and heart disease and type 2 diabetes and Alzheimer's and dementia and friggin'
These are different statements.
I didn't ask you about any of the health ramifications, just like eating candy may have health ramifications. So that's nothing in which I've asked you. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is what you define as a vegan action. The other thing I care about is I care about what you're saying about torture. You're saying that people are paying people to torture animals. And I wanted to know who in this room is paying people to torture animals, or who in this room currently actually tortures animals.
And he ostensibly he wouldn't even have a problem if we were to create a system of which everything was the same exactly, but the animals weren't suffering, then would he be
Yeah.
okay with it? Because it seems like he's very focused on the suffering.
Yes. So if I had a cow and there was not a single ounce of suffering in this cow's life, and I was milking this cow, is it okay to milk the cow?
Is the baby cow getting killed on the side?
No.
What?
Baby cows don't get killed on the side for milk. So I just have
What
asked
does
you a
this
very
do to
simple
the dairy
question.
industry?
I've asked you, hold on, I've asked you a very simple question. The question
Yeah,
which
but
I
you were
asked you,
wrong.
which I will repeat, excuse me, the question which I will ask you and which I will repeat is, if there was not a single ounce of suffering for a cow, is it okay to milk her?
No,
Why?
Why not?
because you're unwilling to answer the question about whether the calf is getting killed on the side, and you were wrong about the fact that they get killed
Well,
in the
actually, I did
dairy
answer the
industry.
question. I did
Yeah,
answer your
it's a
question. The
hypothetical
problem was
statement.
that
They
you
can make it
weren't.
whatever
Yeah,
they.
yeah. I did, but regardless, I actually did answer the question. It's just you weren't listening because you were ready to
True.
pop off for some reason. So I said no. Also, baby cows aren't killed for milk. So in the hypothetical, the answer is no.
You're
And
wrong
I've
about
made
the
it
fact
very
that they're
clear.
killed for milk.
Please, please. In the hypothetical, look, I've been very, very
Take the
respectful
research
to
away.
you. Just
It's
one
okay,
second.
Teddy, if you take the research
Just
away.
1 second.
It's
Just 1
okay, Teddy, if you
second.
take the research away.
Just
It's
1 second.
okay,
Just
Teddy,
1
if you take the
second.
research away.
Okay.
It's okay,
Dude,
Teddy, if
shut
you take
up
the
for a
research away.
second,
Okay.
please.
You
Like
can
I
actually
don't
Google
want
the
to.
answer. You realize you can
Bazooka.
actually just go into Google right now and find the answer. It's
Bazooka.
okay. You don't have to live
Bazooka.
in this like world where you don't know.
Bazooka.
Your
So like the
audio's
last thing
gone
that I want to
weird.
do.
Actually, don't. Actually, I think it's
The last.
don't mute him because they don't have an excuse to leave.
That's fine.
Just let him
Yeah,
say what
yeah,
he's gonna
yeah.
say, and
Just
then we can
unmute
respond to him
him.
rationally.
Unmute him.
That's fine. But the last, okay, so if possible, Zoom or SC can moderate the conversation. But, buddy, look, I have been, even like the last time we talked, I have been extremely respectful towards you. And I don't expect you to like be extremely respectful towards me. But I do expect that if we're going to have a conversation, that you at least allow us to finish a sentence or to finish what we're trying to tell you. So, just real quick, just to let you know, in case you feel like you're talking to someone who has limited knowledge on the subject. I have been working in agriculture for almost 10 years. I am currently in school for for agricultural studies such as agricultural technology, working with fruit and vegetable management. I have been involved with cows. I've been involved with pigs. I've been involved with goats, rabbits, all the works. And like, yeah, I currently work in agriculture, and I've been working professionally in agriculture for the past 2 years in vegetable agriculture. So you are talking to someone with an exceptional amount of knowledge and of agricultural activities and operations within both animal and crop farming. And I have zero ambition to be disrespectful towards you. So I do in some way expect some level of respect towards me, although I am not expecting you to just like absolutely like crawl under me every time I say something to you. That's not the expectation here. Just a level of respect.
Super
So-
fast thing. I'm doing as you or somebody else requested. I'm handing moderation over to Zoom. But just before that happens, Vegan Bazooka, can you check your mic again? Because you went really weird at my end.
Yeah, it did sound.
Can he mic check real quick? Just let him mic check.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah,
You're a little
that
loud.
sounds
I think
that
that's the
sounds
problem.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
little
before-
loud, but it's not distorted, at least at my end. So,
Yeah.
alright.
Yeah. So
Zoom over to you.
right? Like I'm just letting you know, dude. Like I have an immense amount of knowledge in this subject. I work in this subject, currently work in this subject. I've been doing it for 10 years, almost 10 years. So like I said before.
Can I ask you a question?
Just 1 second, real 1 second. So I want to go back to the conversation we're having by telling you my hypothetical in its correct form. The hypothetical is merely, right, that this cow, and I also said no, the baby calf is not killed. We can totally use the example where the baby calf lives with mom 24/7, and she
Can
comes
can you
in
can you repeat
every-
the whole
every-
thing from the start to finish? Because I'm actually lost myself.
Sure. The hypothetical that was given was that if I had a cow, this cow is not suffering a single ounce, and she has her baby calf with her 24/7, and then she comes in and gets milked once or twice a day because like she's a Jersey or a Holstein, so she makes an incredible amount of milk that her baby just cannot suckle off her. Is it okay to milk that cow?
The obvious answer be like, how do you feel about that with humans?
Name the trade.
Did you sorry, Quills, was that you who asked that?
Yeah.
It was. But
Okay,
yeah, we're
but
waiting for
Quills,
vegan.
I'm not asking.
I'm
Bazooka.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bazooka. The floor is yours to answer.
I'm still going to say no, and I'm just going to add to that you were wrong about whether or not baby cows are killed in the dairy industry. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, I would say it's immoral to do that unless you're going to, because then you can just infinitely do it, right? Like I'm not on board with that, and that baby cow will die if you milk the cow to a certain extent.
What are you talking about? So I think that what's going on here is that you have a little bit of ignorance about how dairy works. So first of all, I want to be clear about what I said to you. I said no. Also, dairy calves are not killed for milk. Now, if you want to talk about veal, we can have a conversation about veal. However, dairy
Post
cows
a
are
link
not.
to the evidence
Excuse
that
me?
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
is there like a chat?
I'm in the
I'm
middle.
just going to
I'm in
post
the middle.
evidence that you're wrong right
I
now.
am in the middle of talking. So
Yeah,
you are
let's let
welcome
Patty
to talk.
finish.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm just
You're
saying,
welcome
like,
to
it's a
talk
bit
after.
annoying listening to you say this
Yes.
shit over and over when I know
You are
for a fact
welcome.
that it's wrong.
You are welcome to talk after I am done talking. By the way, if you got muted, I'm not looking at my phone, but I am not muting you, dude. I am not. So,
Where's the text?
again,
I'm just going to post some evidence that you're wrong.
Bazooka,
put
just
in
let her finish. Let
Thank
Patty
you.
finish. Okay.
Thank you. You can put in text if you want.
Yeah, because you are wrong on this. Just to let you know, like, you're definitely 100% wrong on this. Like, no question.
Is there like a general chat text channel that I'm missing?
There's a VC text.
Yeah,
I see it. Never
VC
mind. Sorry.
text.
Go ahead.
All right, so yeah, Patty should be able to finish her point, and Bazooka can post his evidence if he wants to.
Yeah, go ahead. Just go ahead, knowing that I know you're wrong, and the evidence is like about to be posted. So go ahead.
You can't just do that.
Is Patty speaking? I can't hear her on my end.
She's
No,
not.
no.
She's not speaking.
Patty?
Okay. Maybe having like technical issues or something like that.
I guess here's the issue. When you say that I know you're wrong, like I guess
Sorry, my Discord crashed, and so where did I leave off?
Okay, you're gonna explain something about calf separation in the dairy industry, I believe.
I wasn't about to explain calf separation. I was just about to
Like
explain
killing
again. So I was just
baby
about to
cows,
explain
quote
again.
unquote.
Yeah, I was just about to explain again. So calves are not killed for milk. If you want to talk
Yeah,
about veal,
the
if you want to
evidence why
talk
that's
about,
wrong.
please be quiet. If you want to talk about veal, if you want to talk about beef, we are absolutely welcome to talk about veal or welcome to talk about beef, but they are not killed for milk. So the other thing is that you said no, you would not be okay with it, and I kind of want to understand why. It's that you had said that you would milk her to the point where she can't provide for a calf. I've never heard of that before in my years of working in agriculture. I want to understand why you said that.
Yeah, so you're giving me a very, very, very fairy tale scenario, which has absolutely nothing to do with 99.999% of animal agriculture, and then you're not being specific enough that I can't, like, you need, if you're gonna say I'm gonna take 100 mils of milk per day or something, like some very small amount that's not going to affect the health of these animals, then yeah, maybe I would be with you on that. Maybe I would say, okay, that's vegan. It's still pretty fucked up. Still going to cause cancer and heart disease. But if you're just going to give me a situation where you could theoretically infinitely take milk from the cow and end up taking all of the nourishment material for that baby cow, then well, of course I'm going to have an ethical problem with that because you're killing animals.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm looking at your source. So you posted a source from PETA. I'm just going to be very clear with you. I do not accept a source from PETA. You are welcome to post a source that is related to anything that has edu. So I'm talking about things like msu.edu, pennstate.edu, cornelluniversity.edu. Like these are the types of resources that are actually relevant to agricultural activity. I will not accept anything from PETA or anything that says vegan news or QAnon news. I will not accept anything that says something like Reddit news, something like that. That's
Guardian.
unacceptable for me. Or the Guardian is not good enough. No, I will accept anything that comes from an edu site. So we're talking about edu or possibly USDA.gov or AustralianDairy.gov. Like we'll talk about those types of resources, but I will not accept anything that is a blog or something from PETA, the ASPCA, QAnon, Reddit, Breitbart, anything like that. No.
What
So,
about govegan.com?
GoVegan.com would not be an acceptable source for this conversation.
Oh,
So
my
that
bad.
would be like me.
There
That
you
would
go.
be like me saying something like, "Actually, meat is really, really good for you, and it will never get you cancer." And I were to link BartK.com. Like that's kind of what that is.
Oh,
So they're lying.
Yeah, PETA is well known for not only lying, but unfortunately spreading misinformation. Now, same goes for places like Breitbart, Fox News, et cetera, et cetera. If we want to talk about agricultural resources, we can 100% talk about colleges and universities that work in agriculture.
So,
Okay,
so
so
what should be
can
understood is like these news sources, don't look at their spin on it, look at what they're referencing. Because if you look at the actual data that they're using to make their statements, that's what you need to examine.
Okay, so would you say that when baby cows are killed for veal, the milk from that mother is not sold?
Yeah, so they're not sold once again. So it's not sold for milk. So when calves in the dairy industry are born, what they're actually getting is that they're getting two things. So they are number one, they're getting colostrum from their mom. So that is colostrum is the
It's
first
fucking
kind of
titty
real milk.
milk.
It is
Sorry.
titty
You a
milk.
simple yes
Sorry.
or
And
no
what
question.
colostrum
It needs
is,
to be musical.
I'm sorry, no, for
Dodging
one,
the
I'm not
question,
moving.
as always.
What are you doing? So that's not
You're,
what that
I
is.
asked you a yes
When
or
I'm
no question,
explaining,
Maddie.
I'm explaining to
Yeah,
you the
yeah,
answer
it's just
to.
funny how you're dancing around the
I
question.
am okay.
Take this
I am
back.
explaining to you. I sorry. What?
I was saying, by the way, I think I'm lagging because it seems like I'm interrupting you. So,
Yeah, he was.
it just seems
Just
like
gonna ask
or
a
I
yes or no
am.
question at the end of this.
Yeah. So you are welcome to ask me all the questions you want. I am in the middle of answering one of them, but you're kind of trying to prevent me from answering it. And
It was
once
a yes
again,
or no question.
I think that once again, I have been extremely respectful towards you, and I kind of do wish you would share me the same respect, just on the basis of being your interlocutor.
A
So,
yes or no
um,
question, so the respect would be to
I
answer
am
it.
in the middle. I am in the middle of answering the question, but you have repeatedly tried to prevent me from doing so.
And they need
So,
one word from you.
so for one, so you asked me, is their mom's milk still sold? Well, yeah, their mom's milk is still sold. But the
Hey, then
question,
you're wrong.
unfortunately,
You just admitted
what the
you're
question,
wrong.
Bazooka,
unfortunately,
please let her speak.
thank you. Unfortunately, what the question does is it tries to leave out some essential context. The essential context being mom's milk is still sold and it's also given to dairy calves. So when a calf is born, a dairy calf has to have colostrum. Not only do they have to have colostrum, but they're often going to be given like a mix between some formula. So that formula is also a mix of actual dairy product that has been milked over, maybe possibly even from another farm, and then they're also going to be given actual milk. So that's how that works. So yeah, dairy calves are not only given milk, they can also be given formula, and they are also given colostrum. So not only is their mom's milk sold, but they do actually get their mom's milk.
I'm glad we finally agree.
I don't think that we do agree. So the the disagreement that you seem to have is you seem to believe that dairy calves are killed for mom's milk. Now that's unfortunately, I'm sorry, not unfortunately, but like that's not true. So they're not killed for
You
milk.
just admitted it.
Dairy calves are grown for their meat content, and they still actually receive their mom's milk.
Do you think that's a good thing?
What about like calves being eaten? So for one, they're not actually cat. When we talk about veal, we are very rarely talking about like we're never talking about newborn calves. We are very rarely talking about calves under the age of 3 months, and we are often talking about juveniles who are between the ages of 6 months and 1 to 2 years old.
None of it
So
matters. You can
when
just
you
like
consider
take
all
all that
this,
out, and
yeah,
but
sure, but it
you
seems to
still don't
matter.
get to a conclusion of go vegan. And you go ahead, Quills. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm just asking Patty. She seems to have a breadth of knowledge about this. But I just feel like you're arguing about minutia, which don't really matter too
Well, it
much
does
because
matter. So it
Can
does
I
matter. I'll
address
tell
the
you
really
why.
stupid thing SD just said?
No, just
It
hold on.
looks
You can do it in just a moment. So like it does matter,
That
and
was
and
dumb
here's
SD.
why. If you dude, chill out. So like just chill, everything's fine. So it matters because if someone says baby calves, which is redundant, they're typically talking about newborns. There comes like this idea that newborn calves are just like shipped into a chute and then like processed into a burger. It's not how that happens, for one. But actually, these are not calves. These are typically juvenile, like these are juvenile bulls or sometimes females that are raised on milk products. So they are raised either on formula or actual milk, and then they are processed for beef, which is referred to as veal at their age. These are sexually mature calves. Like these are calves that could right now
sure. Well, I
mount
just
another cow.
can I tell you why I don't understand why you're making these sorts of statements about this thing? So
so
It
Like,
seems
who
like there's
guys,
no issue that you
guys,
have with these things being
Toast.
processed in the way that they are. It just seems like you're just
Say
saying,
less about
well,
your
they don't have
dairy
these
brand.
arbitrary boundaries which we set up on them
Toast,
insofar as we
please
consider
stop
them like
talking, man.
half. Oh, sorry.
Oh, so, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so guys, I get what you're saying and that this is like an interesting thing to go on about, but Zuka has been waiting to speak, and
Hmm.
I think
True.
it's fair that we give him the floor now. So yeah, by all means, it's an
Go ahead.
interesting topic. I get it, but I do want to keep things like moving
Oh,
along.
Zoom,
So yeah,
man. Your internet.
Yeah, I just wanted to address this really, really low IQ thing SD just said. He's like, well,
Cool.
well,
can't
that
wait.
doesn't get you to it. Well, that doesn't get you to a conclusion of go vegan.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I've already explained to
Not
you at the
true.
start of this conversation why vegan is a neutral position. It's just not doing something. So
That's
you
not-
guys
that's
have to
not what
explain
you
to me
said,
why
though,
it's
is it?
okay to torture and murder animals.
No, we haven't. Look, the question was, do you think that, like, let's say that all your assertions about veal and milk, let's say they're all true, right?
Well, they are, and you guys agree to it.
Cool. I'll agree to it. I'll agree to it right now. Does that, if I stop doing it, does that get me to go vegan? Because is like veal and milk the only way to, consume animal products? We don't need to talk about chickens, geese, none of those things. All I need to do is stop eating veal and drinking milk, right? According to you.
No, and I've never said that.
Well, you did, actually.
That's what you imply.
Yeah.
When?
Yeah.
What did I say that would imply that?
What I just
You
asked
said
you.
you said SD was
Jesus
wrong,
Christ.
and that's what he was saying. So it was implying that when SD said it was wrong, that it was meant to go vegan.
Yeah,
You
so all
implied
that would be
something
implied
like
is that they need to just confirm or confine themselves to like what you think is vegan, which I guess by the definition that they actually present is it would be vegan, right?
What would be vegan?
So that's
I've got
you
no idea.
losing another debate, vegan water pistol. Well done.
Okay, I don't think that was coherent at all, what you just said, so whatever.
No
Okay.
worries.
That's fine.
Yeah, so what do you understand though that like when you decide to pay money to someone who's torturing and killing animals, you're actually the one deciding to do something, and the other person's just walking past that aisle, and so
Do you
I don't really
understand
understand.
if you load a statement such as like somebody's just torturing and killing people, and you're just going to sit there and do this other thing that is not conducive to not having that person tortured and killed? Like, do you understand how that's not like a really great statement to make?
Would you
It's not
ask a
trying to
non?
engage in a conversation. It's just trying to browbeat somebody over some sort of like moral quandary.
Yeah, the trouble is he's not even very good at it. Like, that's the issue.
Would
if
you
if
ask-
he was, it'd be one thing. But,
Would you ask a non-astrologer to justify their position?
I'm not sure how this is relevant.
A what?
what's
Well, a
non-
vegan is just a non-consumer of flesh and milk and
What is
eggs.
a non-astrologer? What is that?
Yeah, exactly.
it's the
Exactly.
it's the vast majority of people, right? So going back to what we started off at the top of this as,
I don't
if somebody
think it
wants
matters.
to argue for
what the vast majority-
astrology, it would be on them to make a case
So-
for astrology.
So, do you base your morality on what the vast majority of people do?
Here we are.
My
Here we are.
God.
This is actually the first of the question: is you're trying to browbeat people with your morality? Is that right?
I'm just saying it like as close to the truth as I can succinctly say.
Yes, and you think the truth is what you believe to be morally correct, right?
I don't know if that's how I would say it, but
How did you come to your moral belief system? How did that happen? Was that a rational action?
Yeah, go there. Do it.
moral belief system. It's just axiomatic. Like
So it wasn't rational then.
Like,
You didn't think about why this is true. You just believed it to be true because in your moral core, this is what was known. Is that right?
that violence and torture and murder is bad. Yeah, sure. Like it's
Even though we already knocked that out, just keep saying it though. What does it matter, right? Just
I'll be
keep
right
saying
back.
it.
it's funny because you're essentially asking me like, well, you know, you're just trying to browbeat us by calling it violence and torture and murder. But it's like, okay, do you have any evidence that it's not?
We already went
Oh my
to the
God.
example of finding a dead animal at the side of the road, remember? And you conceded that it wasn't violence or torture.
And you conceded you don't eat animals off the side of the road.
I didn't concede that.
Well, it's not necessary.
What's the relevance?
The relevance is that it doesn't back up your position, right? You can't get to where you want to be with an argument like that. Like, do you really not get this? Are you actually for real? Like, come on, level with me.
So if I said, hey, there's violence happening in the animal agriculture industry, and you were like,
Mhm.
well, what if I scooped up a toad off the side of the fucking road? Yeah, man, that debunks the whole thing.
Is it vegan to eat a toad from the side of the road?
Well, like, why the fuck
Is
would
it?
anyone do that? Like, why
What
would
does
you
it-
even
what does
remotely
it
think that's
matter?
relevant?
Is
Oh
it
my God.
vegan or isn't it?
Sure, it's
Yes or
vegan.
no?
It's vegan. So,
Alright.
alright, so I can eat meat as long as I go about it in a certain way then. Thank you.
Well, you already admitted you don't, so it's
I
just
did.
like
I
the
didn't.
stupidest
I
thing
didn't
I've ever
admit
heard in
that
my life.
actually.
Yeah, I don't think he ever admitted that. I think he's been pretty consistent about his meat eating habits.
So you
but
only
it's
eat
not
meat off the side
important.
of the road. So you only eat meat off the side of the road.
I already answered your question. I said no.
So
it's
another
not,
further
It's
question.
not the case that I only eat meat that I find on the side of the road. Do you want me to answer it for a seventh?
Okay, then why bring it up?
Guys,
Because
I wanna
go ahead.
I want to move this conversation forward. Bazooka, it does seem like you're interested in SD's non-vegan position. Maybe what would be best is you ask him where he actually does get his meat from.
True.
And explain to you his whole
That's where
situation.
you get your meat from.
Yeah, I guess here the problem is you're trying to talk about the general sense of veganism, and SD is sort of fucking that up with his non-traditional meat-eating habits.
Tell us where you get your
Guess
fairy
what?
tale from, meat from.
Everybody else is getting it. It's only you that's not getting it, Mr. Water Pistol.
Yeah, the existence of roadkill. Oh, veganism debunked.
That isn't my
Sure.
argument. That's just something that I asked you about, right?
And it should also. So the thing is, too, if you think that you're having trouble making him feel bad about his meat eating, it might actually have some sort of information for you to internally critique yourself about. Wait, how do I actually function? How do I functionally implement this into my police system?
Well,
I don't think
just to
he's
be
gonna
clear,
do
he's
that,
not
but
even willing to
I
tell
need
us
to-
where he gets his meat from.
No, I'm more than willing. I just need to step away for like maybe 60 seconds. I'll be back and you can ask me whatever you want.
Yes, but I think the best
Gonna go
thing
script
to
up some
do.
raccoon, man. Sorry.
So the best thing I think to do, Bazooka, would be to ask SD where he's getting his meat from, because I do think that's definitely like causing a lot of confusion here. Because SD does have a very unique position that I am fairly confident you haven't heard before. It's not a jab against you, by the way, is most people haven't heard of his position.
Yeah, most meat eaters think they've got something vegans have never heard before.
But do
he
you
does.
understand how you
He
haven't even
actually-
given us a coherent reason of why we should be vegan? That's the whole problem.
Well, it's axiomatic.
Well, why
sure,
should you be
but-
a non-vegan?
The problem is he hasn't even done the work to try and say, like, I understand that we have different axiomatic positions, but like he's not even trying to inform us of why, even in the existence that
Yeah,
we both.
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh,
Why
okay.
are you a non-astrologer?
I don't know what that is. Sorry, non-Australia. I can't hear that.
Why aren't you a Nazi?
Are you just
Wait,
a person of why
oh,
not?
Nazi.
I'm trying to get you to understand that vegan is a non-position. It's neutral. It's doing nothing.
That's not true.
Oh, wait, so it's like saying
Like,
like
what is
plants have rights, something along those lines. That's a non-position too. Like, what's your point? I don't get it.
Sorry, I couldn't understand what you just said.
Yeah, I have a
Can you-
bad mic. Sorry. I'm saying like plants shouldn't be eaten. That's a non-position too. So what's your point?
Saying that
could-
plants shouldn't be eaten.
Could you?
That is a position. That's saying plants shouldn't
No,
be
that's
eaten.
non-position. You're not eating plants. That's all. You're not, well, harvesting them.
I think he's trying to figure you out through analogy of like when you say veganism is a non-position, like what do you
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
by that?
Mike's trash. Sorry.
Well, functionally in the world, veganism is simply not eating something, right?
Yeah, that's what I
not-
said.
No, because vegans eat things, right? They just eat certain things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, so it's so the way that you're wording this is very strange. That's all.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
but
saying
saying
they
that
don't
it's a
Zooming
want to.
non-position. How leads you to
I'm just saying,
not have
look,
a burden of proof? Yeah, that's what I don't
if you're
understand.
Okay, guys,
two
SD
people,
has returned, and
Yeah, I was just asking
do
if you're
think-
still here and if you have enough time to do this. That's all.
yeah, I can. I think I have enough time to do this. I have like 40 minutes or so that I can
Damn. All right, let's do it, guys.
Probably about
40 minutes. Let's go.
39
I got
more
40
than I
minutes,
could,
fucking starting now.
Go.
All right. Yeah. So Bazooka, I would encourage you to ask SD how he gets his meat.
yep, tell us your fairy tale story, bro.
That's rude.
Why are you
Poisoning
trying to
the well?
poison the well saying that... Yeah, exactly. Why are you poisoning the well saying that it's a fairy tale? You know what the
Let's
definition
go
of a
straight
fairy tale
forward.
is, right? It's going to be something fantastical that can't possibly be real.
Bro, he's only got 40 minutes. Let's not do this.
Come on, just let's go straight forward.
Well, I mean, I don't see why I should let him poison the well. He's
Well,
not...
I'm talking about fucking fairy tales.
I don't have any fairy tales. I don't believe in fairy tales.
Okay, well, tell us your 0.00001% story,
All right,
bro.
that's
Hey,
Oh
would
my
it
God.
matter if I was in the 0.0001%? Would you concede if I can make an argument that proves that I'm in that category?
So hold on. So vegan bazooka, can you just like let's imagine that you are in a situation of where you've put yourself. You have your belief system, and you're like, now I am in the middle of a bunch of meat eaters. What do you say to them to convince them that they are incorrect?
On ethics or what? Like, what are you talking about?
However you think the best way to approach
Always
them is.
This is a different question from what we were going at. But I mean, if you guys want to,
we were lost.
yeah, I really did want Bazooka to talk to SD and hear his position. But I mean, if the call wants to go for Quill's question, then I guess we can do that too.
Yeah,
Well,
go
I'm
for
happy-
Quills. I got a bit of time. I can hang around, so go for Quills first.
No, so I'm only asking that to put forward like you guys talking. I'm not trying to hijack the conversation.
No, you're good. It's fine.
So SD, why don't you just say then what it is you do, since it seems like
Sure.
Bazooka asking has caused contention.
Yeah, sure. I can spell it out. So, Mr. Water Pistol, are you listening?
Yes.
Okay. So, the only animals that I eat are those that are killed for the protection of crops, right? And that's primarily rabbits and pigeons. The reasons for doing it, especially in the case of rabbits, this is my go-to topic, right? Is because if we didn't control the numbers, then the rabbits would sort of breed out of control. This is such a problem that it's actually enshrined in law. I know it's enshrined in law in the UK. I'm not sure about in Australia or New Zealand, whichever one of those it is you live in. But it's enshrined in law here. So is it okay for me to kill them to protect the crops which are designed for human... Well, not designed, sorry. Grown for human consumption. Is that okay? Is that permissible?
Yes, but I do have a couple of caveats to that.
What's the
If need
caveat?
be, like for instance, if it's okay, I would even say if the crops are important enough, it's okay to kill humans if they're trying to destroy the crops.
Absolutely.
But if you're just growing unnecessary crops just for the joy of shooting animals that come to get it, then I'd have a problem with that, obviously. But I doubt that's what you're doing. So
I didn't
put
say
that in.
anything about joy, but you've actually undone something that you said in one of the text channels earlier. I think it was in Veganism Debate. You said that nobody's ever answered NTT successfully without going vegan. I've just answered it and you've acknowledged it. Thanks.
I don't think you have.
I have. Do you want
Well, I
the
don't
trait?
think you understand.
Do you want the traits? Don't tell me
What
that
is
I
the
don't
trait that
understand.
justifies stabbing an animal and not?
Who said anything about stabbing animals?
Jabbing.
I don't stab animals. That's ridiculous. Who does that?
He shoots them.
Yeah, or they can
Get the
hang
fuck
them, they
out.
can poison them. There are many other ways to kill them.
What do you think I do? Like run around in fields chasing after rabbits with a knife and stab them?
Look,
That's ridiculous.
Just to be clear, you have not answered name the trait at all.
I have.
Name the trait is a stupid qualification, by the way.
Yeah, well, you can call it
You,
stupid.
you
I'm
just
saying
look at the
you
fucking
haven't answered it.
Rolodex of where you feel comfortable or uncomfortable. It's not a big deal. Like it's not a real great criteria.
The funny thing is that he actually volunteered the information that it's okay to map this over to humans, provided the same conditions are met, which is the same as my answer to name the trait. So yeah, I have answered name the trait. Thanks.
Well, no, you haven't.
Yeah, I have. Run it by me. Do it. Go on.
So,
Go
yeah,
step
if you
by
think
step.
name the trait is so significant, why?
What's the question?
So
Sorry?
what is the difference between human and animals that justifies animal agriculture, but not human animal agriculture?
Wait. Where are you getting animal agriculture from? We're talking about plant agriculture, which is why I have to kill the animals.
A crop.
Remember?
This infinitely perpetuates itself into any sort of harm that you could conceive about any possible existent being or entity, which is insane.
Well, if the only animals you ever contribute to the death of are crop pests, I don't even have any reason to call you not vegan.
So you think it's vegan for me to shoot animals in the head and like tear the skin off their body, chop them up into bits and cook them and eat them? That's vegan, is it?
In the context of defending property that is needed, well, yeah.
That's vegan. That's a vegan action.
I don't see how it wouldn't be, given the stipulations.
You might want to have a discussion with other vegans about that then. Because killing on purpose, we're not talking about accidental killing, it's very, very deliberate, right? You'll be hard pushed to find vegans who are going to agree with you on that. I can name 2 who will agree with you. I'm not going to name them because that's, well, it's not doxing. No, not out of it.
Well, I'm not one of those vegans who's going to say, "Oh, you have to just get killed and die for animals' sake." No,
okay.
I'm not on the.
Right, so I can just keep eating meat then, right? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not just blanketly saying you can just keep eating meat.
Well, why not?
Given this very
can I kill
narrow
them?
set of stipulations.
Yeah, which is why it was very silly and folly of you earlier to just assume what my position is, because you didn't even know what it was.
Well, I'm just going by the fact that you're on team non-vegan.
Yeah,
but
because I'm not vegan.
You admit that that's a stupid thing to assume at this point, right? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Well, he started off by saying I'm not vegan, and now
you're just
actually...
justifying that you did assume
vegan.
things incorrectly. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, you don't need to actually justify why you assumed it incorrectly, because we all know that you did. It's not a big deal.
Okay, well, he's flipped his position. Like, why do I have to?
I haven't.
Don't have to
I haven't
justify
flipped
it.
anything, dude. I've got 5 years worth of debates recorded on this topic. I haven't flipped anything.
Okay, so
I know you need to cope really hard right now.
Whole 2-hour conversation of like you debating against a vegan, and now you're telling me, oh, actually, I'm vegan.
No, because
listen.
I'm not vegan.
The problem is you don't even know what's going on.
Okay, well, are you vegan or not? Like,
no, I'm not vegan because I kill animals on purpose and I eat them afterwards. Is that a vegan action?
In a very narrow set of stipulations.
No. Without context. Everything else equal.
Well, hey, I'll just say I've got no problem with it.
Okay,
And I'll
so
debate any
then I
vegan who
guess what I've
Vegan
done
who
is
disagrees. I'll
justify
debate that
not being
vegan.
vegan. Oh, okay. Well, you have fun with that. Have a blast, right?
Well, so here's the thing. Like, I understand that, like, you can say, like, listen, he's arguing with somebody who, like, defies all expectations and all assumptions. That's fine, too. But I'd rather talk to him as somebody who actually is in line with his expectations. Because
Yeah,
I
well,
just want to know
if you
what
want
he
to have
knows. I
a
just want to understand what he
discussion
believes.
with him about like standard like bacon though, go right ahead. I'm not stopping you. But what's sort of mildly irritating is when vegans assume my position and they've got no idea what it is.
Yeah, that's all fine. I just feel like he's. I just want to. I just feel like he doesn't know what he's saying, or why he's saying it.
I think we're all pretty much in agreement on that one.
It's super rude of me to say, but at this point, he's done it so many
Not
fucking
at all.
times in a row that I'm just, I'm just wanting to do it.
No, you're good. I think I've made my point. So with that, I'm happy to be quiet again and just let the conversation continue with other people. There's several other people in the room. They can all go ahead. Whatever. Zoom is still here, I believe. Yeah, Zoom's still here. So Zoom's moderating. Let's hear from the others.
All right. Anyone else?
I don't think we've hashed out the economics thing.
Or we're in the
Yeah.
streets.
Is supply and demand
Yeah,
denial.
where we were in the streets.
You guys want to talk about economics again?
Yeah, that was
I
pretty
don't
funny.
think that we
You
really.
denied
Oh,
supply and
good.
demand.
My ad
We got the
recommender
economics guy
recommended.
here. Oh, you did talk with him in the text, but he's muted.
Yeah, Pradhonian is here. He was talking about economics, and I think he might have a degree in economics.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So
Economics.
actually, what I found, well, like, dude, you're in a room, with people who have like qualifications and specializations in certain fields that matter. So, yeah. So actually, something that was brought up to me, a vegan named Thoughtbat that was in our favor. Like he agreed, he found particular frustration with the things that you were saying, vegan bazooka. And I think that what he mentioned was extremely relevant. Mind you, Thoughtbat is a vegan himself. He told me that the example could be fine-tuned a little bit for you to like truly understand the impact of how markets work in the Western world, especially just markets all over the world, because the Western world kind of controls markets today. So if
Bro,
100
you
million
confuse the
people,
fuck out of me. Okay, you're trying to make sense to him. Like, listen, you're saying things that you're not
sorry,
expressly saying. Like what you're talking about. I just don't know what you're saying. It's so confusing.
Oh, Quills, yeah, you weren't there. I'm sorry. So
Nobody. Well, how many other
so
people are here?
oh, like everyone except for
Oh damn!
Bravo
Except for me.
enters. Almost everyone. So in the prior conversation, well, as you've noticed, like some of the rhetoric from Vegan Bazooka is associated with this idea that people are directly paying to torture and murder animals. The problem with this is due to how market demand works, and it affects how established demand works. Well, one of the things that we should have talked about, but I didn't think he was necessarily ready to talk about, was the fact that when demand drops and supply is still steady, then the price of said thing drops. So the price goes down, which
Can I
means
stop
that
you there for
demand
one
is
second?
huh?
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Sure.
So I guess what I'm just misunderstanding is that I'm not sure what you're trying to say in so far as are you talking about economics or are you talking about moral
We're
systems?
talking about economics. So
Okay.
Bazooka's claim is that if people just stop buying, and if at least one person just goes vegan and stops buying, then this causes, or at least 100, or maybe even 1,000. He's at one point said 30,000. That this will, for some reason, shift demand drastically, and said thing will either almost cease to exist or will go out of business entirely. The problem with this, in my opinion and other people's opinion, is that this is not really how markets work. And this is actually the cause of price dropping, which makes commodities become more popular again.
So Patty,
like the number, so dropping the price, right, or lack of
Patty,
demand, and the drop of price will actually re-stimulate demand. And we actually did say
Patty,
this to some degree last time.
And let's let
Yes.
Bazooka answer.
Patty.
Yes.
If 100 million people went vegan who used to eat meat, are you gonna bite the bullet and say that wouldn't affect demand?
Yeah, I've already told you prior that this probably would have very little effect of demand.
Okay.
No.
I'm
Wait,
happy
what's
to proceed.
happening?
That was really, really funny. Like, that is really funny.
I think
No,
you
hold
can.
on. It's a fundamental. So hold on. I can't.
Oh no, you're
There's
fine.
no way
You're
that I'm.
fine.
Well, I'm sorry, but there's no way that I'm understanding correctly what just happened because he was saying just as a joke, like, well, what if I fundamentally changed the demand? And you'd say, like, well, that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, for the most part, it probably wouldn't matter. So what would
In the
happen
supply and
is
demand curve, demand does not matter.
That
so
is
in
such a
supply and
bullet
demand.
to bite, Patty. What a bullet to bite.
Yeah, it's a bullet. It's not really a bullet to bite. It's how the market actually works.
Hilarious bullet.
No, it's how the market actually works.
Wait, so how's the market? Hold on, what do you mean? Hold on, wait. I have to be misunderstanding. What do you mean?
Mhm.
So
So what I mean by that, sorry, was there more that you wanted to say?
no, go ahead.
Okay, so what I mean by that is, if I think about this correctly, as like right now there are 8 billion people, almost 8 billion people. At least we're supposed to hit 8 billion people very soon. If 100 million of them cease to eat meat right now for whatever reason, I do not think that for the most part, the price of such thing will go down. So agriculture is really interesting in that, for one, the free market does not exist in agriculture, at least within the United States, and you can see it in other Western countries like the UK. The free market is simply not a thing.
Okay.
So if
Right,
you lost
guys.
100 million customers, you'd be all good.
So, sorry, are we talking about a specific company or are we talking about globally?
Patty, I don't think you believe this.
I do believe it
Why do you believe that? Why would you say that?
because I'm educated in the subject.
Gotcha. Never mind.
Oh,
Guys,
man.
I did want Vegan Bazooka to do the talking because he's not in here all the time. So I want
I'm
him
sorry.
to like
I don't even know how to make an argument against that. It's just like, oh, hey, if I lost 100 million customers, I'd be all good. Yeah,
100 million customers where? See, I think your problem with the question is the fact that your question is too broad. Now, if you want to say something like, well, Walmart lost 100 million customers, sure, you're going to probably see a shift in how the way Walmart reacts. But if you're talking about globally, 100 million people decide to stop eating meat, I'm sorry, but nothing will change about meat production in the United States or any other country for that matter. So
So
global shifts about food happen
nothing will
all the
change.
time. No, nothing
Nothing
will
will
change
change.
Globally now. So that's why,
What about
sorry, so
what about 500 million?
make your
What's the
question
line?
as make your question as specific as possible.
What about 500 million?
500 million out of 8 billion people? I don't know, probably not.
So if 500 million people stopped eating meat, you think meat production around the world would be about the same as what it is now?
Probably, yeah.
What about a billion?
A billion, you might start seeing some effects.
So
Only the
there's
billion. That's the only. That's the point that you would see change. Only the billion, huh?
I said you might start seeing some effects. Now, I don't know if that would constitute necessarily change, but you might start seeing some effects.
Yeah. No
so
change
just
occurs
to be
below a
clear,
billion. Gotcha.
It's
So
just the
what you
Sorites paradox, right? Nobody
yeah.
knows where the exact number is because
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just
well, listen,
Well, that
is it
close is
1?
true.
Is it 4? Right?
It's not necessary to even answer the question, right? That's why it's a paradox. The whole thing is she's saying that she doesn't see that it would be true if there was this many hundreds of thousands of. So basically, she's saying supply and demand, that curve would not be affected by the change of 100 thousands of people
because in
changing in that sort
agriculture
of curve.
because in agriculture
You're talking about
supply
fucking
and demand
subsidies, which is not. It's not
in
relevant.
agriculture it is very
Well,
relevant.
yeah, it
So in
is
agriculture,
relevant.
supply and demand.
So it is
Yeah,
relevant, but it's not part of the question. I'm talking about
it
subsidies.
is. It is.
I'm talking about
Quills,
supply
it
and
is
demand.
very. It is.
So then,
Subsidies.
if you actually thought that was true, you would
Quills.
ask me which country I'm referring to,
Quills.
because that would
I've
refer to
already
the subsidies that are actually in
Quills.
place.
Quills. I like. Come on, out of all the things that were said today, this is the one thing that riles you up. So, like again,
I'm sorry. I'm just,
you
I'm
can
sorry.
be as flabbergasted as possible. It is the reality within agriculture. So subsidies have a lot to do with this issue. Agriculture is not a free market.
So if we ignore, which was implicit in my question, the subsidies, right? Because why would I be talking about subsidies when I'm trying to talk about the
Because we're
logical
talking about
extension?
economics.
So yes, but if I'm talking about those in a vacuum, why would you bring up subsidies?
Because we're talking about economics. So if you
To
want to
go.
talk about
Well, never mind
economics,
then. Good point.
if you're talking about economics and agriculture, you're going to end up talking about subsidies. Subsidies are very important to this issue. It's why agriculture is not a free market, and it is why supply and demand doesn't really matter much. Demand is, how can I make this sentence? Supply, I would say reasonable supply is curtailed by demand. Sorry, reasonable supply is curtailed by subsidy. Demand, right? Demand is apparent, it is responded to, but you are protected from any sort of backlash by your bad choices by subsidies. So you can, in fact, have a shift in the market, but produce the same amount of content and receive just enough money to make it out.
Sure, you're making statements about things of which you're envisioning in your own head, but why is that accurate to what we were talking about?
I am not envisioning anything in
So,
my own head.
guys,
This is
I
how
think this
agriculture
is
operates.
getting a little off topic. I did want Bazooka to get a chance to speak. Bazooka,
Yeah,
did
real
you?
quick, I actually have to go. If anyone wants to make any final points, I gotta go in a couple minutes. That was
Cultivate some
that,
broccoli.
Farmer in D's Streets. I love you. That was hilarious. Happy to chat again. It's not even worth arguing again.
Bazooka,
Just like,
well, no, I think that you are reasonably flabbergasted about an actual system that operates.
She's
I
having tech issues.
I think that you are reasonably flabbergasted about a system in which actually exists, in which agriculture, for example, certainly responds to demand, but it is not deeply affected by demand. So it is because of the way that agriculture is subsidized that you'll probably see, if not any, a very delayed change or reaction to people changing their habits, their diet, so on and so forth. And because of that, you often see people fall back into the original diets and lifestyles that they had because of the access to cheaper products, which is what subsidies do for agricultural commodities. So if you want to talk about food, if you want to talk about meat and dairy and whatever, you're going to have that conversation about really shitty economics that exists within agriculture.
Just an FYI, I am not him. Just letting you know.
I know, I was talking to Bazooka.
Gotcha.
it would be so funny if we got into the idea of like if there was billions of humans being farmed for their flesh, don't worry about
Is this
boycotting that.
like?
In fact,
Sorry.
even if 900 million people boycotted the human meat industry, it wouldn't make a difference. So don't bother, guys. It's
Do you
all
think
good.
that
Just
there are
I mean, you're trying
Bazooka,
to
do you think
ridicule.
Bazooka, do you think that most people who buy t-shirts, so I assume that right now you may have on a piece of clothing, at least on the top or
t-shirt.
bottom of you. And if you were to, hold on, And if you were to, I'm sure if you were to find out where said clothing is made, depending on whatever you're wearing for that day, I think that you would be very unhappy. Just hold on. Well, I'm not saying that you're a hypocrite. Don't get me wrong, because everyone wears a piece of plastic like sooner or later. But like, I think that you would be. Hold on. No one's dodging your question. I'm just responding to you.
Yeah, they are.
I think you please. Just like it's, I think that like a level of
I'm just
control is
gonna
just
ask the same
necessary.
question again when you finish.
Let him
I'm
talk,
sure that
please.
I
Thank you.
think that level of control is like very necessary. You need to learn to like to some degree control yourself. So I think that if you found out that what you were wearing was made by slave labor, you'd be very upset. You would probably be very you'd probably be very,
Yes,
very
we
upset.
should all be
Just
naked,
like
okay?
just like no. Well, mind you, I'm not saying that you're a hypocrite and I'm not saying that you should stop buying said products, but hold on. I think most people in the world are very upset by slave labor.
I don't give a shit about it.
Well, hold on. However, well, I said most people, not all people. So, like, most people in the world are very upset by slave labor. However, right, at any given moment, there are hundreds of thousands, millions of people who are advocating that those people not be subjected to slave labor. However, what we've actually seen is not only an increase in slave labor, but we've seen an increase in the products that is made through slave labor. Their conditions have not changed, despite the fact that more people advocate for these people on average.
Hey, that would have been great if anyone had cared. Like,
Well,
Motherfucker, you haven't
it's
even provided
unfortunate.
a reason for why people should believe what you believe, okay? You're just sitting here being like, well, isn't this
They
wrong?
need a justification. That's what.
If you're interested, Vegan
It's a
Bazooka, I'd be
I can
non-position.
answer
happy
that.
to provide you. Look, if you're interested, I'd be happy to provide you with all the resources, right, that I can think of that are backed by, like we said before, reputable information and sites, in which details this issue very deeply and very meaningfully.
The issue is you don't
Yeah,
even know why you believe what you believe. You just think it's intuitively true.
can I respond to that?
Which one?
Let's let him respond.
Yeah, just respond to like whatever you feel necessary, man.
Okay, so this whole entire thing is a smokescreen. You're asking me to justify why I think it's ethical to go on a vegan diet, but I don't even see how we can have that conversation when you're arguing to me like you genuinely believe you have a point here when you're saying if 900 million people stopped buying meat, that wouldn't, like, those 900 million people would be ethically the same as people buying meat because it wouldn't affect the demand. Like, we can't even have the
No,
ethical
it's a
discussion if you're just
possibility.
going to
That's
sit here denying denying the economics, denying supply and demand. Like, this is honestly the dumbest
The
thing
issue is
I
he
have
can't
ever
exist without the other person. He doesn't actually have an opinion of his own. He only exists in contradiction to other
Hey,
people.
Coach.
So I think I think I see like the actual problem. The actual problem is that you think that someone asked you to justify being vegan, and that's not what anyone did. Nothing. Just get in the car. That's not. Just
Okay,
hold on.
whatever.
Just hold on. Just hold on. No one's asked you.
It's just that everything you say is so cringy.
That's it.
So
That's
no one's
oh my
asked
god.
Bazooka. No one's asked you to justify being vegan. Not a single
Yes, they
person has
have.
asked you that. Well, hold
Yes,
on.
they have.
What they
No,
just can
nobody asked.
once again. I just want to be clear, Bazooka. At any point in
You
which you were
just
saying,
rewind. I'm recording this like they
I just
did.
want. I can't. Okay,
Like, why
listen.
why
If
are you
you could
saying
make
this?
a
Listen.
coherent statement, people wouldn't be talking
Yeah.
at you, okay? Just chill.
Two things. Two things. I can't understand you when you do that. Like you're putting. I don't know what you're doing if you're putting your lips on your mic, but I can't understand you when you do that. And the number two, I have been again very respectful to you. I have been quiet while you're talking. I am merely asking that you afford me that same respect in some degree. So no one's asked you to justify being vegan. What was asked of you is you must justify why one ought to be vegan. So again, nobody really cares, right? If you're vegan, it's when you demand that other people change their lifestyle, you do have to justify that. So that's the defining characteristic that I think has been missed, like possibly by you, possibly to others. I'm not saying it's your fault, right? But I do think that that's something that you may be missing. The other thing is again, is that no one's denying. Uh huh. No one's denying supply and demand. But what is being explained to you is that when we talk about, I can't understand you when you do that. I
Oh
think
my
your mic
God.
might be too loud. So like no one's denying supply and demand, but what's being explained to you is that when it comes to agriculture and food, you're not doing supply and demand in its like rawest form. You're actually messing around with something totally different because that's not a true free. That's not even close to a free market. So supply and demand works really well under like free market conditions, but food and agriculture does not operate under free market conditions.
Can we maybe let him respond? I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's honest. Like I don't think there was any actual arguments in there to be responded to. Like
Sure, go ahead and respond then.
Well, I've got to go to work now anyway. But yeah, it was fun.
Wait.
Thank you.
All right, it was good talking
All
to you.
right. Okay.
All right, Bazooka. Take care.
Yo,
Yeah, I
I
hope to
love
talk
you
to you
all.
again.
care
Yeah.
with a
Yeah, I hope.
PC.
Look. I don't have any interest in trying to make you not be vegan. It's not my interest in anyway. But again, I want to like really get you to understand agriculture and like economic agriculture. That's
Yeah,
a
and
deeply important issue.
can I just say, I started this conversation with saying vegan is just a neutral position. Can any of you justify murdering and torturing animals? And no
Yes,
one had
and
an
we
answer
told
to
you
that.
why that was a stupid statement to make, right?
Yeah,
And then
we.
you
But
Yeah,
didn't really have
was-
much
yeah,
to say
Yeah.
afterwards.
All right.
Just
One
just to
at
be
a
clear,
time.
just to be clear, you all refused to answer my question.
well, I haven't refused to answer that.
No,
Just
listen,
was
we all
upset that
answered
I
it. It
didn't
was just a
answer.
malformed question as well.
Yeah, I wasn't a part of that conversation, but Bazooka, we can't get to the ethics portion if we can't get through the economic portion, because the
I
point
agree
of the
because you
ethics. Hold
deny
on, just hold
you
on.
deny
Just
economics.
wait,
Like saying, I just met you and like,
remember,
listen,
One at a
fuck my mom.
time.
Let me talk to you about
Patty,
that.
you go.
remember when I said again, like I will not interrupt you, Bazooka. Please don't interrupt me. So we can't get through we can't even do the ethics portion if we can't do the economic portion, because the point is, right, if your actions don't actually cause any harm or doesn't actually hurt someone, like explicitly and directly, then the ethics are out the window. So we have to actually discuss this issue. And that doesn't mean that at no point I won't ever like bend to something that you said. It's just for right now, we need to understand what the economics of agriculture is.
Next time, I will school you on economics.
I hope that you bring, look, and I will really appreciate it if next time you bring sources to your arguments as I am bringing sources to my arguments.
It's very convincing because you don't even know how you're actually making this first argument, right?
Well, I look, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm talking to him, not you.
No. I know. I'm just saying. I was saying it in respect to that. Is that I
Thank
don't
God.
care. Yeah, I don't really care if he justifies why you should go vegan or not, because I think at the end of the day, the conversation about economics and what agriculture actually is helps us answer that question like from the get
Wait,
go.
so do you think it's a question that can be answered?
Sorry,
Do you think it's a question that can be answered?
the question of like why
Guys,
you should go
guys,
vegan.
No,
guys,
the question of
wait,
economics is what you just said.
Sorry.
yeah, please wait till he left.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was going to work too.
Yeah, but we had we could have like had more questions.
He
SD wanted
left?
to make a closing statement.
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
Sorry.
why he left?
No,
Yeah,
he was
and
gonna work.
Ali wanted to ask a question, I think.
I apologize.
I want to ask about his non-position thing. It doesn't make sense. Like,
He was never going to give you a good answer.
yeah, like for example, I don't do this, therefore I don't need a justification. That's absurd. I think.
All right. So,
Yeah, well, I'll take my
SD, are
first
you?
5 minutes with him. I think I was telling you that vegan bazooka was not really trying to learn anything. He was just trying to win a conversation. So at that point, I
Well,
just stopped
I'm
caring.
gonna force him to learn cuddles. I'm gonna
Was he
force the
American?
education on him. This is
Yeah, I have the opposite approach.
this is the
He's not.
education gulag.
Well, Farmer, I'd like to hear about you and your education. The conversation we were having. Do you remember where we were?
Farmer in
I
the
don't.
streets.
The conversation about Subsidies?
All right. Well, never mind.
Wait, what? Wait, what are you talking about?
I just don't remember. Like I
Oh,
said, but we
Was
were
it
doing
was it
something
was it
of
about
where we were
cows?
really not driving. You know what I mean?
Was it about cows?
I don't
Oh
fucking
no,
remember.
sorry. It was about subsidies. It was about economics, agricultural economics. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, it was you were disagreeing about something having to do with agricultural economics.
What are cultural economics?
Agricultural.
Oh, excuse me. What are agricultural economics?
The economics surrounding agriculture.
Oh, never mind.
He's gonna come back.
No, you had to go to work.
He
I
may
mean, I
not
don't
be
know, but
back.
he's coming back. He's not changing anything. Neither we. So it's redundant, but at least funny.
Right.
Like I
So
enjoyed VSSJ. Sorry, Zoom.
Oh no, it's fine. You want to finish, man?
No, I finished.
Okay.
Um,
So just to finish off, SD did want to make a closing statement. So yeah, SD, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. My closing statement will be very, very brief. I wish that Vegan Water Pistol was still in here, because then I could have thanked him personally for, returning to the server to have a civil discussion. I mean, the guy is civil. He's very silly, but he's also civil.
Disagree. Sorry.
We could. It wasn't intended to rhyme, but we can pick it up any time. But with that, I will stop the recording, so you guys carry on doing whatever you want to do.
A4 Andre, was there a question that you had about dairy goats?